Is the Dragon Age in the room with us now? The Dragon Age Veilguard gameplay trailer just dropped, and it's certainly a game. I've seen people talk about it so far, and I don't know, man, it just seems super generic so far. Like, there isn't anything that really stands out. It's giving, like, classic Arkham vibes. And we're hot off the heels on Spider-Man 2, and it really just, the gameplay seems worse than that. All of those projectiles were telegraphed super hard, and they even have parry windows that you can send them back or to dodge. It doesn't fit in what it is that I think Dragon Age is supposed to be, and that's the main criticism that people have. And I heard it said that critiquing these super heavily is super unfair because they're just trailers, but they're gameplay trailers and they're cinematic trailers. They're supposed to be for critique because they're reveal trailers for the game as an advertisement. We're allowed to look at this and see whether or not it looks good or fits within the realm of what it is that we know Dragon Age is supposed to be or can be. What's exceedingly interesting to me is that these sequences look fine, other than the fact that some of the characters look like they're made to look as closely bland and just related to Fortnite and Pixar as you can. Like, specifically in this scenario too, it's not really favorable to only have 3 options that you choose from in that scenario, at least in terms of what it is that we know Dragon Age was and was supposed to be. I don't know, it doesn't fit. And it can be said that maybe this thing was thrown together quickly, and there's some precedent for that because these like weird cue cards show up, and then it cuts into what it is that the gameplay is supposed to be. So they're clearly just skipping large sections to get us into like areas that it matters. But like, it's just, I don't know, man. Like, this is Dragon Age, and it's BioWare and it's EA. And if you just stripped away Dragon Age, if you stripped away the title that is Dragon Age, I don't think that you could see this and know that it's a Dragon Age game. Nothing about this screams that it is. It just looks like a generic fantasy setting. Unless you recognize the 2 characters that were from the first game that are in this scenario, and then Solus later when he shows up in the middle of this. But other than that, like, there isn't anything that gives that off. Like, I don't know. And we were looking at the fight with the Pride Demon, which is supposed to be like the first mini-boss encounter that you have to like go through the tutorial section. It doesn't scream like a Pride Demon that we've seen before. I don't know. The gameplay, or should like, the way that he's moving and the combat, it just doesn't give off what it is that people probably want with a Dragon Age game. It looks like they didn't necessarily dumb it down, but they just made it more generic to appeal to a wider audience. But we've already figured out that that doesn't work. Like, a game that's made for everybody is a game that's made for nobody, and that's happened time and time again. And I don't know, it just doesn't fit. I think this is the perfect example of what it is that I'm talking about with the character design. Like, Varric looks really good. He looks like he's, a dwarf from Dragon Age. She looks really good. She looks like a dwarf from Dragon Age. And then, like, they get through this sequence here, and he's talking, and he gets 2 options, and it isn't super great. And I don't know. It's not the best. And then here's my man Solus. He has a good reveal, and he looks really good. He looks like a character from Dragon Age, because he's from the other games. It's really hard to mess up a character that already has a set design. But, again, like, the new characters don't look like they're from the IP. And part of me wants to believe that they didn't create a blank slate new IP and then slap Dragon Age on it because they didn't have any other ideas, but that's what this feels like. And I wouldn't put it past BioWare at this point because they're a shell of their former selves. We've already figured that out. But again, like, just to capitalize, I guess, on what it is that people are going to complain about, If this didn't have Dragon Age attached to it, I don't think people would really care about what's happening here. Like, these cinematics, I just hope that the story in, like, these cinematics are gonna be good enough to make people want to watch or play the rest of the game, because the gameplay is really not awe-inspiring so far.